We now cross to him in London for where Mark Bohlund joins us live on the news. Thank you for joining us, Mark.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, you wrote in the Bloomberg intelligence report that Nigeria's recession will exit this year. Give us the details.
Yes, we expect real GDP growth to be around 2% this year. Agriculture will still, be the strongest growing sector, delivering about 1%, half of that growth number. We also expect recovery in oil production. You already have some of the terminals that were knocked out by attacks in the Niger Delta coming online, and we expect oil production levels to recover somewhat this year, maybe not get up towards 2 million barrels per day as you had previously, but to add a bit to that, and also that will alleviate the foreign exchange situation somewhat, but it's still going to feel like a recession for a lot of the population, unfortunately.
Interestingly, agriculture, oil production, stability, and the Forex situation, which you mentioned, are very important. But it's also interesting to know that you also touched on rising inflation in the economy. Do you see inflation coming down? Though we had a 3% drop the previous month. Do we expect more?
Yeah, inflation has probably peaked at around 18% now, but we do expect it to be slow coming down. And you'll continue to have double-digit inflation, and this, of course, will make it very difficult for a lot of people and inhibit how much they can spend. And that will reduce private consumption growth and keep the economy in kind of recessionary condition, even though it might be growing in strictly numerical terms.
Well, now national earnings appear small with deficit budget. How will they deal with our current accounts?
Yes, I mean, the current account is, of course, still suffering from the drop in the oil price, which meant, you were running a current account surplus because of oil revenue, largely because the oil prices was so high at about $100 up until mid-2014. It started dropping later, and then, of course, the Delta attacks increased last year and took out a substantial part of the oil production. So we expect this figure to slowly, then you had things like services, things that were being bought from abroad using this oil revenue, actually decreasing, and that meant that the deficit was shrinking. But we expect it to remain in deficit. Of course, there is some borrowing from the World Bank and other sources coming in, also Eurobond sources. That comes in on a financial account, and as that money is spent, it means that imports increase, and it keeps the current accounts deficit or in deficit. So we expect that to remain in deficit, but maybe shrink somewhat going forward.
Mark, before I let you go, you also talked of the Forex issue, which is a major challenge down here in Nigeria, talking about the efforts now by the Apex Bank, that's the Central Bank of Nigeria, to defend the Naira with our reserves, our foreign reserves. What do you make of this move? Do you see it as a step in the right direction, or how sustainable do you see this?
Yes, it is quite a confusing situation with a lot of different exchange rates for foreign school fees and for making the Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca and all that. And I don't think this is a very good management of the Forex situation. I think Nigeria should follow Egypt, that had a very sharp devaluation of the pound in November last year. Okay, inflation is almost double what it is in Nigeria. It's definitely causing a lot of pain, but you've had money coming in, and the situation should improve going forward. I think Nigeria needs to take that hit for the economy to really bottom out and start growing going forward.
Mark Bohlund, I must thank you for your time. Senior economist with Bloomberg. Thanks for sharing your thoughts on recession in Nigeria.